Hello, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening, and good morning to those of you across the land and across the pond. I am Leo Brown, and welcome to Let's Talk About It. So, I wanted to come on and discuss something that actually is kind of a big topic in the metaphysical spiritual community. But before I go into that, make sure that you guys like, make sure you comment, make sure you subscribe, and make sure you keep supporting the channel. It means a lot. Your participation in this, your building a community with me, along with me, is wonderful. It really does mean a great deal. So I thank you guys so very much for supporting me in this endeavor. If you would like to get a reading outside of this medium, as I am a life coach and a psychic medium, you can log on to my website, which is psychicleo.com. That's psychicleo.com. And you can also follow me on various social media platforms. All the information is in the description box below. So what I wanted to talk about today is a subject that is kind of, I wouldn't say it's dicey, but it's debatable. I'll say that. And that is tools versus no tools. So when we think of people that do spiritual work, whether you're a medium, whether you're a psychic, whether you are an astrologer, whether you are, let me think of something else, whether you're a numerologist, whether you are, um, let me think. I'm trying to think because there's so many different modalities. Whether you're a healer, regardless, one of the biggest debates I often, and I wouldn't say I get into, but one of the things I've often found is if you have to use tools, then are you really a psychic? Are you really spiritually connected, like you claim? And then but then it's like if you don't use tools, people often think, well, maybe you're not real. You know what I mean? So, and the reason I bring this up is because a colleague of mine and a good friend of mine, shout out to my girl Coco, psychic Courtney Tyson, um, but she is a tarot reader, and she says that she's come across people being like, well, if you have to use cards, then you're not a real reader. And I respectfully disagree with that because here's the thing. I think, like everything in life, you outgrow things. You use what works for you in the beginning. And as you get deeper into your gift, excuse me, and deeper into honing your skills, you you may still use said tools, but maybe not as often. I personally think that, like for me, I use tarot cards. I do. Do I use them all the time? No. But it doesn't make me any less valid or any less real or anyone else less valid if, say, you use rune stones, you use dowsing rods, or you use nothing at all. You just rely on your sixth sense to help you. You rely on your senses of clairvoyance, clairaudience, empathy. You rely on those. You tap into that. It's the same way with those that can connect with the dead. Some people they use tapping. Tapping is a way of connecting. Some people use Ouija boards. I know those are controversial for some, or talking boards, spirit boards. Some people have to have a circle to tap into it. And some people, like myself, excuse me, like myself, are what you would call a mental medium, where you'll get, like for me, I get flashes, I get pictures of certain things. So I don't think that you're any less valid if you choose to use tools. Tools for a lot of us can open the door to the subconscious, to the spirit world, to the worlds that we're trying to tap into. And for me, even though I may not use my cards as often, I know that for myself, um, what actually opens the door for me, and I often tell my clients this, is asking a question. If you ask a question, that makes it a lot easier because here's the thing. We don't know you. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Like, I know that you're coming to see me, or that I know I'm going to do an event and you're going to be there, but I don't know you well enough to just tap into your situation. That's not how it works. At least for me, I can only speak for myself in this. And I've often been accused of that too, because people, well, oh, um, you don't have to use cards. Oh, you're not real, or you use cards. You rely on your cards too much. And there is a thing where you can be, you rely on your cards, you must not be real. You know what I mean? And there is a thing where you can be reliant on the tools that you use. Like for those that may use rune stones, for those that may use an astrology wheel, um, things of that nature, you can be reliant on it. You can become a bit dependent. But that's the thing. It helps you build your said intuition. And how you get it is how you get it. Because that's no different than me in the beginning. I use cards. Now, I don't have to use them as often. I do have them, but do I use them all the time? No, because and also it depends on the person. It depends on what the person needs, what they're looking for in that moment. Because you may not be looking for just a straight up mediumship or life coaching session in my case. You might be looking for a tarot reading. You know what I mean? So in turn, you want someone to flash cards in front of you to help you paint the picture of what's going on in your life. Because really, that's what tarot cards and oracle cards do. They really, for a lot of people, they don't dumb it down, but they simplify it. They make it easier. It's like, oh, I see. And there's other forms of divination aside from that. You can read my goodness, like fire, you can do air divination, you can do earth divination, geomancy, you can do pyromancy, which is a reading of fire, scrying, that's what crystal balls are for, things of that nature. Those are all tools. You can even use crystals for divination if you choose to. I think you have to just go with what works for you. I don't think that using a tool makes you any less of a reader. But I also don't think that not using tools makes you less of a reader either, makes you more valid. I think it just depends on how developed you are in a spiritual sense and how developed you are intuitively. And that takes time, that takes years. You know what I mean? And we all have strengths and weaknesses. Like for me, uh, I know that like I'll use myself as an example. I know that in my mediumship, I am not the kind of medium where I see. Like I don't physically see spirits. Um, but I think that's because the spirit world knows that I'm a scaredy cat. And I know that if I saw a spirit, I'd be like, I would freak the fuck out. So, but uh mentally I can see it. But even in that, I may not see it in a sense of completion. I may see it in like snippets, like like a movie clip. You know what I mean? So it just depends. I think it all depends on the person. But in my opinion, it doesn't matter if you use tools or not, and it doesn't matter what kind of tools you use. What matters is your connection and your commitment to helping yourself. Because oftentimes, when you first start doing readings, you read for you. Let's be honest, and then you start to read for other people, and helping those around you, in my opinion. That's just me. So I think that's because that's been kind of a debatable thing. Oh, you don't you have to use tools. Oh, what kind of reader are you? It's like, but that's what works for me. Or you don't use tools, wear your cards. So it's like you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. But in my opinion, it doesn't. For me, I don't care if you use tools or not. As long as I know that your main goal is to help your client, if this is your career, help yourself, and more importantly, your connection to the divine, no matter what name or face you choose to give it. So I just wanted to come on and discuss that with all of you. I hope it made sense, and I hope that you guys got something from it. Let me know. For those of you who are readers yourselves, like even if you just read for yourself, what do you use? What tools do you use? What have you found? Like what tools do you find works for you? Do you use just your plain intuition, or do you use cards? Are you into rune stones, numerology, astrology? Like what works for you, but what hasn't worked for you? And do you believe that just because you like if you don't use tools, you're not a good reader, or that as a reader you have to use tools? Let me know in the comments below. Please let me know what you think about this, because I would love to form a healthy discussion. So until next time, my sugar bears, be learnable, be teachable, love yourself, and most of all, be you. I thank you guys so much for watching, for commenting, and most of all, subscribing to said channel. And I will talk with you very soon. Have a great rest of the week. Love you. Bye bye.